Yeah, I definitely think that, if anything, it'll be the confidence boost that she needs in order to keep her gameplay up at the top and put it to where we know that she can play at.
So Elevate, they take that game off of the back of, like we said, the incredible pentakill, and then, of course, the follow-up one. And that was, in all honesty, not all pentakills are created the same. I know a lot of people are at home just going, hey, man, if I get five last taps, it counts. Shouts to the unhyped penta that I called earlier this season. But in all honesty, I think that pentakill was one of the more impressive ones we've seen in the history of Smite.
Everything needed to be perfectly there executed. He landed the first shot for the kill during the snipe. He landed 2 and 3. He rolled in aggressively, even using the Sanctuary to prevent himself from dying from that tower shot, getting the 4th kill, and then relying on nulisa to tank the tower for him to get that important last kill for the Penta.
Just absolutely flawless execution. As we head into game number 2, Team Elevate certainly has that hot on the front of their minds, hoping to bottle that and keep it going. Bans have come out. No Raijin and no Cabrakan. Sanguine tried the Athena last time around. If they want to switch it into the Cabrakan, absolutely not going to be allowed. Sobek and Odin are banned out by Sanguine, so I'm sniffing out some healing thoughts coming out from those guys.
I mean, that's definitely what most people are expecting to happen, I'm pretty sure, at this point in time. It looks like Sanguine are trying to run it back with the Athena. Elevate definitely opting for that Fafnir. I think the Fafnir provided great aggressive control, and it definitely complemented the Rama pick since he's such a heavy steroid. Like, he does so much damage once you get to that late game stage. And it was clear with the way that Jermain was able to clean up Sanguine in those last few fights that Fafnir was definitely a big factor in that.
The problem is, can they get to that same position like last game? Everything needed to go perfectly to get that kind of a pentakill and to get them back into the game, because the way Sanguine were running it, they had complete control with their team composition between Isis, Athena, Bacchus, just so much crowd control. Team Elevate, they couldn't really get in position to do anything. We saw how quickly WorldEdit died, so if they allow Sanguine to get off the first initiations, then it's going to be problematic for Elevate.
I'll be honest, Tolly. I like what I see here. So far, both teams have done exactly what they did in game number 1, and I don't think there's an issue. A lot of times I'll sit here, especially in between game number 1 and game number 2, and say, all right, what team needs to make the tweak? What team needs to make the adaptation? I think that both teams played fantastically. Things just went Elevate's way towards the end. The adaptation, in my opinion, needs to come on the battlefield in the execution.
Well, I think what was huge for Elevate was WorldEdit at that first FG that they were able to secure. It was mostly off the back of WorldEdit on his Batz ult, because that disoriented Sanguine enough for them to get the crucial picks that they needed onto Dodo on that Isis, and then right after that they secured the kill onto Arkkyl. So it was excellent to take away the damage components out of Sanguine's draft, and I think that's kind of what Elevate's looking to do again in this second game.
Yeah, I agree. Sanguine, their composition, the double guardian, all of the protection, it really only works if it comes together sort of Megazord Voltron style, right? Everybody working and operating the same unit. When everybody's in a different direction, all of a sudden you've got an Isis surrounded by a Rama and a Hun Batz and a Bacchus with no cooldowns up and an Athena that already used her taunt. Nothing's going to happen with those 3 combinations. So Sanguine can be thrown off by the Hun Batz ults. Second round of picks, we're going to take Freya and Arlong Shen away from Elevate. We saw MoGoW do well with the Arlong. And then the Guan Yu, I think, is a very, very important ban. Even if it wasn't played last time around, I think it's absolutely incredibly important that that ban comes out from Elevate.
Well, not only taking away MoGoW, Arlong Shen from MoGoW, but they're taking Ram away from Jermain, not allowing him the same opportunity to really hard carry in the late game compared to last one.
They're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. They have to do it. That's MoGoW's, that's his signature god.
If it's not
Hades.
Odin, it's Hades.
Giving a little bit of background info to the folks at home, MoGoW, when he first came into the SPL, was certainly not a nobody. He was known in the ranked scene in Europe as, well, he can play Hades really well, and then sometimes shows up with a Herc and a Ra, I guess. And then when he played the SPL, he demolished players with his Hades, and then it got banned once or twice, and then we never heard from him again. Clearly, he's fixed things up, and he'll be playing the Sun Wukong around, but there's a story behind the hype of that Hades. However, Sanguine finished their draft, taking the Ram away, and going with the Bellona.
People forget about Bellona, honestly, just how powerful she really is with that Scourge in the late game. Going to be able to really be problematic for Jing in the late game whenever you have that steroid. If you're going to get disarmed, Fafnir is going to be able to disarm Sanguine, but on the flip side, now you're going to have at least Nika to disable Jing.
Can Jing do what Ram did last game?
I honestly believe so.
We'll take a look. Hinduman and Dardez, bring us the action.
Well, we won't just see if Jing can do what Ram did last game. We'll see if Ram can do what Ram did last game, but it's Arkkyl's turn.
I want to see if nulisa can do what she did last game. She was.
Turn up.
I mean, Jermain had the hype penta. You can't take that away from him. But for me, nulisa was the most valuable player.
Game-winning plays.
Of all 10 players.
And just to add to that, that pentakill was provided and sponsored by nulisa, who tanked the tier 2 tower to allow Jermain to get it.
She also, I mean, the first 2 kills that Jermain got in the sky, most of that damage came from nulisa. Once again, phenomenal snipes straight into the teams. I saw her like, I'm pretty sure we saw 3 or 4 engagements where nulisa hit 2 squishy targets with those ultimates, and it really disrupted kind of the flow of Sanguine's fight.
Well, we did get a bit of a subtly run back here as well when you're looking
a little bit.
Between the first 3 picks are very, very similar. The only big change up was Arkkyl switching to Rama to make sure Jermain didn't get that for himself.
He also had to. The On Her was actually banned by Sanguine in that position, or excuse me, was banned by Elevate. Didn't want to deal with it once again, so it's going to be a switch up. And I do like the Rom here being picked up for Arkkyl. If On Her is down, this once again is such a great boxing character. Once they get into late game, once his steroid is max level, the extra damage from the Astral Strike doing so much.
But Jing is available.
Hindu, she's like 15.
She's still a Bay, and everybody knows
15.
she is. And her ability to go back to base very quickly, regen, take a boxing fight, even lose the boxing fight, come back and end up winning it because of that passive that comes into play.
If she's 15, Dust is 15, and Jermain here, once again, on a pretty hard carry got it. It's less so much about the boxing. She does have the crit built into her kit there when she pops her explosive bolts, but it's about that farming potential. Just being able to get back in lane, trade out poke, and we see a lot of Jing Wei's kind of forego the lifesteal because they're so efficient at getting back into lane, able to take poke, trade out, and not lose any farm, but Jermain's sticking to his build style.
Obviously, this game very important to both these teams. Elevate, in my eyes, really need this second game, though. It will put them on 3 points, which will catch them up to where Sanguine are right now after their win against Dignitas. If Sanguine, however, though, can get a win here, that will match them with where Dignitas is right now.
I still think it's very unlikely Elevate comes out on top of this group. They have had great games, but for them to win over a Dignitas or a Sanguine or an Orbit, it's going to be rough, but they're going to be, at the very least, the spoils of this tournament.
They've shown the potential,
though. I mean, this one-game loss for Sanguine could result in Dignitas taking second place over them.
Well, Dardez takes a lot more poke than he wanted to there, really. He was looking for the hammer on Murrdurr more than not. The wave clear advantage is slightly in favor of Elevate in that first couple of waves coming through, but Dardez's health being a little bit lower means the trade's kind of even.
I want to go back a little bit and kind of talk about how important it is to win the group. I thought Cherryo was going to go aggressive there,
Well,
and he is.
The taunts again.
The same thing as before.
Repeat of game 1 there, but non-purification that time from nulisa. Recognize she could get away. Murrdurr still doing what he needs to on this Bacchus early on as well. Pressure the back the back minions, and also try and hit people.
And Cherryo's just like, I love this combo of Athena Isis where you just get the guaranteed max range spirit balls. Obviously the taunt here a little bit low of a level, so it's not going to last as long. That's why you saw Dodo miss that previous one.
I am more surprised than anything that the biggest change up in this is the Rama was respected more than nulisa's Janus that game. I think Sanguine should have noticed that it was nulisa that was the big player in that game, and it wasn't Jermain's Rama. Even though he got a penta, that doesn't mean he was the carry.
We've really only seen 3 gods from nulisa, the Raijin, the Janus, and the Isis. And if you're going to pick up the Isis early, I think that's the option to go. Ban away her Janus, force her into the Raijin, which I think you're going to have a lot better time against. I mean, it's really hard to say, but I just feel like her Janus is on another very similar to Suntouch, where his Jing Wei and his, Freya are on another level to the rest of his gods. It's the same thing here for nulisa. The Janus is just too good to let through.
So just farming up from both teams, and this is very similar to what happened last game as well. It was more a little bit later on in the game, around the 8-9 minute mark, where we started to see a lot more action in this game.
And right now, I'm a little bit surprised to see not as much. We see this a lot where teams will start off slow in game 1, which I think, maybe not so much, but after big hype games, sometimes you just see all these kills across the map afterwards. But both teams making sure that this is an important game. Like, Elevate aren't out of this.
That's the hardest adjustment to make, though. When you go into a late game like that one, a big, decent game that goes very long in length and back and forth as well. You forget that you're not as tanky at the start of the game anymore. MoGoW recognizes that though, as he got hit by that bludgeon and forced to ult.
I think that was more he was worried about Cherryo's either ult potential or just rotating out of the jungle and getting the CC. Obviously, as a solo laner, you don't really want to go into Purification. Both have that teleport online so far.
Although I think right-hand side could see more action. If Cherryo does decide to dash in there onto MoGoW, MoGoW has to be respectful, and that's what you see. Ox dancing away straight away like, no, 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 no. I am not being first blood.
And just right there in the lane, we saw how good of a counterpick Jingwei is to these high-tier supports of Sobek and Bacchus, where their main initiation is to knock you up with belly flop, but your main escape literally counters every knockup in the game.
Now, it was Elevated that got off to a better start last game, if you correct me if I'm wrong. And then Sanguine came back into it, got the Gold Fury as well, which made them take the lead for the first time in that game. And then Sanguine controlled the game for the most part until Elevate.
Sanguine had great control of the game with the Athena pick, mostly rotating across the map, utilizing the ult defensively if in an awkward spot, and just controlling the objectives. What we expect from a team that has come prepared, that isn't really relying on their player skill. Not that they haven't shown up, because Arkkyl has been absolutely on fire. Great games from Cherryo and Nika as well, but they do rely kind of more on the intelligent play rather than the raw brawling skill of Elevate.
Well, both these Harpies were available. The left ones will go the way here by the looks of it, although Dardez goes very deep space of time. Will hit onto Cherryo, but Cherryo is okay at the moment. Going to be looking for the ultimate potentially if he feels aggressed on, and that's what he's going to do. Meanwhile, Dodo in the mid lane used a circle of protection defensively there as well, just to make sure he got out. Interesting engagement.
Another miscommunication coming out from Elevate. We saw WorldEdit go on to TheDarkDodo while the rest of his team was focused on Murrdurr. This is still their primary issue. Just imagine if they fix that, right? If they can somehow, by the end of the day, fix that issue.
Who do you want to be the shot caller? That's the real question here for this team. Generally, you want a jungler or a support player to be it. Do you want that to be the case?
Realistically, it's WorldEdit. I think Dardez and Jermain are... Dardez and Jermain almost need someone to reel them in, because they go a little bit too ham. So you need someone that your team's going to respect,
you need
right?
a lobster.
The biggest problem with this team is that you need to follow their calls, and I don't know if Jermain and Dardez want to do that. Sometimes they just want to fight, and they're not going to listen to anyone else about it.
Well, there's two big teams in EU that people know of, Orbit and Energy, right? You've got Lobster on Orbit, who will sit there, not the overall shot caller, but he's the calming influence in that team.
Sure.
And then Energy is Rafa. Rafa is the calming influence of the boys of Energy when they're going hyper-aggressive. Maybe that's what Elevate need, just that calming influence that everybody's going to listen to.
I almost want to think that nulisa could shot call. She's more of a very quiet, timid person, but I mean, that was not a quiet and timid game from her. That was her playing with a lot of confidence that I haven't seen from her since she started playing in the SPL at the highest levels. Maybe after this LAN, maybe even during this LAN, she becomes the primary voice in comms.
But the one thing about shot calling that a lot of people don't really talk about is it influences your play style. As we see the hammer come out from Dardez there, no aggression going to happen there. But it does affect your play, and by doing that, it generally limits the amount of play you can do. If nulisa hit that sniper Arkkyl, I was done. She wasn't aiming for it.
She's like,
I know she wasn't aiming for it, but if she hit that.
At that point, I'm calling destiny. Like she was, it was destiny at that point where it's just like, if you're hitting that across the map and not intentional.
Is it destiny for Elevate to go to Super Regionals, or is it destiny for Sanguine not to go to Super Regionals?
I mean, here's the thing: Dardez gonna get taunted out. Oh, but bad CC chain there. Strong DR. But none of these teams are out. Even if they don't finish top 2, they still go to the gauntlet, which is why every game is important.
It's true.
Seeding is actually dictated by your placement at LAN. So if you're in the bottom 2, if you have more points than other teams, you're going to be more highly rated. And obviously, the lower your points, the more teams you have to fight through. So Elevate, even if they don't come out on top, finding these wins is going to be very important, making sure they get a good seeding in the gauntlet.
We saw Nika's play on the Bellona yesterday, and he's back on it again today up against MoGoW's son Wukong in the solo lane. Only has Warrior Tabby online right now. He does have a 200 gold lead, which just shows me he's not gone back to base yet to buy any more items.
And that's also, obviously, MoGoW did get pressured out. We saw him have to force his ultimate on the right-hand side when he didn't want to. Sun Wukong, you know, he's a solid laner, but you're not really going to be able to kill him. You're not going to be able to really stop him from wave clearing, but you are going to be able to get an ever so slight lead, which Nika has done.
Well, these left Harpies are about to spawn, and we saw fireworks last time round. We'll see if we see it again as that monkey gets thrown out by WorldEdit. She goes straight to Dodo, but Dodo's going to force a 3 circle of protection, and the monkey's laughing his way back to his half of the map.
So here's the thing, right? We saw this from an overhead view, and that would have been a really bad commit. WorldEdit literally just wanted to do it and jump out. I don't even think he expected to get the ISIS ult.
Well, turn on to Dardez, and Dardez now the Vader Weevil. He's only looking for Cherryo, who stashes away, forced to purify. Murrdurr is under a lot of pressure too. Won't get much protection from his team. Bit of a power play here for Elevate, but what can they get off it?
Honestly, they could probably look to force gold. They've got 3 players that have to back into base. Cherryo does have ult. The ISIS ult isn't down, but once again, taking too long to make this call. That would have been a pretty easy gold fury at the very least. Sanguine would have had to make a rough decision on if they wanted to defend it.
Well, they do want to try and get the red buff now. It hadn't spawned at the time. It has now. And Arkkyl's here trying to defend. If he can pull his best Jermain, he might be able to one-hit it away. Not today, my friend. Instead, he gets a hammer to the face from the Dwarf of Dardez.
Red buff, was that secure? I think that was that secured by Sanguine?
It may have been. If he did, that's Arkkyl.
Or did WorldEdit just try? I think WorldEdit tried to walk over it, but he had speed buff on him. That might have been the issue.
So he didn't get out on that left-hand side. WorldEdit in mid lane, though. Just hanging around the corner here. He can't really go in there against 3, especially with no support from his team right now. He's got to be careful.
He's really waiting for level 12. Once he can get Blink online, that's when Hunbatz becomes really dangerous. I mean, Dardez is trying to just kill Murrdurr. There's that, but he's forced out his jump here, and you can see the rotation on ISIS to the left-hand side, but not with this team. Wants to play it safe.
Arkkyl is in trouble. Jermain's back at it again. This time with a Jing way. First blood, the way of the German who lives in France.
That's really good, because last game we actually saw the reverse. Jermain getting multiple levels behind in a bad spot there.
Onto Cherryo. Cherryo gets hit by space and time too, pinned against the wall, but Murrdurr turns it around with Intoxicate. Immediately, Jermain dips through the portal. Nulisa created a MoGoW. Will zone away the rest of the team, buying time with the Cloud.
Only losing 1, that's fine though, because Arkkyl was picked up earlier, right before with that 1v1. If Arkkyl has snipes there, that gets really risky. Yeah. Something to notice too that we didn't talk about is Rama is very good against Janus and teams that incorporate Janus to portal out. Yeah. Ram has such a good potential to not so much chase, but obviously snipe people who you normally wouldn't be able to kind of pick up in engagements if they had been able to get away with the portal.
Well, we'll see if Arkkyl can do that later on, because at the moment, losing that trade against Jermain in a straight up 1v1 there in that duo lane. We didn't see the whole of the action there, but we did saw the end result in that airstrike confirming the kill.
1-to-1. There's been actually a lot of action for this only being a 1-to-1. Both teams really trying to get a lead.
Nika. I love the way Elevate tries to get in your mind, though. They giggle at you all the time. Dardez does it. Jermain does it. WorldEdit does it. And then you just saw MoGoW do it against Nika. They're just like trying to play mind games. They do it in normal life.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it's Frezzy. So Frezzy is actually the same type of player who will taunt you and bait you. And we've seen it in the online stages. People get baited by the spam taunts, by the spam laughs. But Frezzy also, or Pandalike now, excuse me, has the same problem with Dardez, where what happens is Dardez spams everyone in ranked. He does the exact same thing in any ranked game. And like, you now want to kill him more when you play with him.
Just going in the backside. Nulisa came for a pull, forced to space and time defensively. Make sure the Intoxicate doesn't hit. Circle of protection down. Will sustain them back up, and now Dardez is in a bit of trouble there. But his Dodo is in worse shape. WorldEdit comes in with the last hit, jumps out through the portal and makes sure Dodo goes down.
Oh, Nika
now teleporting in, gonna try and reinforce.
And WorldEdit's on full retreat on the left-hand side. Bludgeon doing a decent amount of damage, but Sanguine aren't in a position to fight this. MoGoW pushes forward, taking a lot of poke. His ult's down, needs to be careful.
In trouble now as well. That portal doesn't hit him, but it did hit Cherryo, which will slow him down for a second too. There's the damage from Coerce going to come through, allow him to look for this tier 1 tower.
You can see they're kind of debating it. Nulisa is the only one up close. Jermain putting in pot shots as well. It's going to be the first tower of the game, 11 minutes in. And Elevate have successfully done an objective, and they're about to do 2, actually.
They're here to play now. Gold Fury is under threat. Arkkyl has the ultimate available, but can he get in range and look for a
He's got to go now. He's got to get to this guy now.
He's not going to make it. Nope, not at all. Too late, too little. And that's going to be a Gold Fury the way of Elevate, 3-1, and the gold lead extends.
It's always so hard trying to steal an objective when you have absolutely no vision on it. You don't know when they started it. You don't know really what cooldowns they have up to burst it. Arkkyl tried to get vision of it, because if he ults too early, well then Elevate just back off for half a second, they get it for free. He tries to get some vision on it. By the time he actually took to the sky, it had already been completed.
What I do want to see out of Sanguine, though, is a ward deep on their own mid lane, because Dardez keeps wrapping around the back.
3 times now.
Forcing this fight onto them, and Sanguine don't recognize it until it's too late. They should do, though. This is like the 3rd time I've seen it.
I feel like Elevate are in Sanguine's heads. We're seeing a lot of, going back to WorldEdit, it was the worst monkey teleport ever, right? There's nothing he can do, but he actually baits out Dodo's ult.
Yeah.
I think Dodo is in his own head, because last game he kept getting bullied and abused from nulisa, always finding those snipes, and he almost seemed to always be on the defensive end of this. And I think in game 2, he's still in his head just being so defensive.
To be fair to him though, I mean, if a monkey jumps on you and gets off an overhand smash too, you're going to be below 25% health at that stage. So Circle of Protection getting forced really helps him after that, and now Nika being able to...
Look at WorldEdit on the camera too.
Misclick.
No one. Okay, guys, we're gonna run that one back real quick. NA alt forehead. Dardez missing his hammer has been pretty on point with those, but with WorldEdit's ult down, Elevate likely aren't going to be forcing anything until it's back up.
They can just sit back, and that's why Cherryo's looking to go a little bit aggressive there. If you can find a good taunt, it'll be useful. So we're tuning with duo lane again.
This.
And Jermain is winning these trades time and time
again.
Now
he needs to be careful, because Jermain has been abused multiple times this tournament, especially once he gets confident, gets a little bit of a gold or an XP lead, where he just pushes up with limited vision, and it gets turned on his head and it gets ganked. This time, you can see, just peeping into the jungle.
He's not scared.
I think he's scared.
He's got a rotation coming from his team too. And what is a Bacchus going to do? There's the rotation. The boys are back in town, as is the girls. nulisa leading them through. However, she got caught into an awkward position. The snipes won't connect, however, and she will portal herself back out. Dardez, though, a little bit late on recovery here. Good response from Sanguine.
Unfortunate timing there for nulisa. Cherryo's ult coming down just as she went through the portal, which means she's not going to be able to help siege this as successfully, going back to base to farm. But the rest of her team are staying aggressive. They need to be very careful. They don't have nulisa to help them out. They don't have an ultimate to bail them out.
Well, Dardez doesn't have his ultimate. I say that, no, he did have his ultimate. Now he's going to turn this fight because he went aggressive on him. In the sky is MoGoW, and a teleport being forced out from Nika as well here to make sure Sanguine are here to defend. Cherryo will be looking for more taunts.
Now that Nika's here, they've got to get out. nulisa successfully farming, though, picking up her red buff again. Elevate. They make a lot of questionable decisions. They're pushed up without their mid laner, who doesn't have her ultimate either, but still managing to get out of that one. Only MoGoW forced to go up into the clouds.
Crazy interesting fact. The funny thing for me is that Sanguine taking away Rama from Jermain puts him in a better spot as this Jing Wei, in my opinion. I mean, Bacchus can't do anything against it, so when Bacchus comes in there, what happens? You flop onto a Jing Wei, and she goes, oh, cheers, I'll take some extra attack speed and movement.
Realistically, it comes down to it being very good at chasing out targets like nulisa or anyone else who uses her portals if a team fight goes poorly for Elevate. But the issue is that Arkkyl got soloed, and he's being constantly pressured out. You see the rotations that just happened from Dardez and nulisa. They don't want Arkkyl to get comfortable. They want to keep him far behind.
And he is far behind. Look at the gold difference between the two hunters.
Wow, that's, what is that, 12, 1300, something like that? That's absurd at 15 minutes. That's a tier 2 item online. And really, if Jermain can hit power spikes, once he gets his next item online, which is going to be Wind Demon, I mean, Arkyl's going to have maybe another tier 1 at that point.
Attack speed as well as movement speed just coming into play again. It's basically like a free sprint.
Can we actually, let's see Golden Hand. I want to see how close Jermain is to completing that. Yeah, he had just back for the tier 1, so nowhere close just yet.
Not an expensive item though, Wind Demon overall here, so
24, I believe.
It's
2400.
not too bad considering the fact it combines nicely with the explosive shots is the best reason for it.
For sure, and also the bonus attack speed you get when utilizing that gust. Right now, Elevate, I love this, starting to pressure onto this left-hand side. They're putting a lot of attention onto Arkkyl. He's still very far behind.
Feed Jermain and he will win you the game. That's the whole idea behind this one. Get Jermain big, he's done it naturally, and now the boys are waiting around the corner. Arkyl's going to get the ultimate onto him from Cherryo. And they're actually looking for a rotation of Dodo. Dodo's alive with the Sanctuary, though, and inside the Circle of Protection is WorldEdit in trouble. Snipes from the sky from Arkkyl.
Oh, and the taunt. WorldEdit, one more shot. Cherryo does pick up the kill now, but it's Dardez forcing back most of Sanguine, and Elevate still want to fight this despite being down a man. Great reaction from Dodo surviving that gank, because that was perfectly timed by Elevate. nulisa ult, you have the Fear No Evil on top, but burns both his ultimate and his relics to stay alive, baiting WorldEdit into that tower.
Neither solo and able to get to that fight with teleport being down there for both of them. However, Nika did get bullied out by MoGoW there. You can see that on the right-hand side, and Nika's forced back to base with no teleport. MoGoW could look for a tier 1. Instead, he himself will return to base.
And Elevate just making sure to defend all their positionings. You saw the rotation back to left. Jermain still being able to utilize that passive after a fight, get back into lane, doesn't lose any farm. And look at these deep wards from Elevate as well. They know that Sanguine is not in a position where they can pressure into Elevate's jungle at all, so they have full vision. Look at this. They're starting this gold, and they know that Arkyl's actually rotating into this, and I think they saw Bacchus back on the ward.
They also know Cherryo's ultimate was just using the last engagement too. This could be completely free, although Jermain's going to take a little bit of time to do it, but with reinforcements of a monkey and a portal user, it won't take too long.
I've seen Elevate do more objectives this game than I have seen them do in any game before
I have a
this.
feeling they went home to the hotel yesterday.
I think they really
said,
prepped this game.
Listen, who's shot caller? We need a shot caller because whoever is doing it now, it feels like they're doing it. Do you know what I mean? It actually feels like they've got a shot caller.
And just the confidence coming out of nulisa finally matches Dardez and Jermain. And MoGoW too. MoGoW, more of a passive player. We saw him get bullied a lot, not only recently and on the online stages, but back in Season 2.
Yep.
He really wasn't able to match up to some of the top tiers, but he has no fear this tournament. He has been so aggressive along with Jermain and Dardez, and now nulisa is matching it. Same with WorldEdit. This is a new elevate.
He's going to have a problem here because he doesn't realize there's two men coming around the back. Stun hits, overhand smash hits. Cherryo's ultimate. Nulisa's here too. There's the Bellona ult already down. A great pull from nulisa. Still Nika's alive though as that taunt came out from Cherryo, but MoGoW had had enough. He used the clone, picks up the kill, and there's no rotation from Sanguine.
Cherryo's on the right side as well. You could see the split push happening, but Jermain is going to be able to defend this, and I think he wants to take this 1v1. Arkkyl immediately knows that he just is going to back out.
Well, Nullisa's trying to cut off Cherryo from getting round here because Elevate want to continue pressuring Tier 2 a little bit more here, it seems. We did just see the back coming out from MoGoW, so maybe not. He has teleport available, however, and the boys and girls of
Elevator in a really weird spot. They didn't know exactly what to do, and now WorldEdit's going to be caught in the jungle. Oh no, he took the portal. He didn't want to, and Dodo takes him out!
And Dodo gets the kill, but Dodo still aggressed on by Dardez, and MoGoW following through, but MoGoW got body blocked by Dardez there. Still Dardez going in looking for the kill, as Jermain gets a solo kill on Arkkyl again.
2 solo 1v1s.
Are you serious?
No, they're not going to survive. That's bad for morale. Like
someone's not happy.
It is. I mean, it's 19 minutes in the game. You're really only down 5K. You could definitely fight back into this. That is. So someone is not feeling this right now.
It looks like Arkkyl on his face there on the screen. He just got 1v1 again. Nika trying to turn this around though, but a very good little play coming out. Jermain's still alive for a second. Has to juke out some abilities. The meat stick is available for Murrdurr, but he can't get in range. Cherryo's dash will secure the kill.
Not going to be enough for agility to come back up, but Sanguine doing a great job of responding. And Elevate not giving enough respect to Sanguine. I think they're feeling a little bit too overconfident. We saw them stay very deep on the right-hand side. WorldEdit gets caught in the jungle. Also, incredibly unfortunate circumstance for him because nulisa was trying to bail him out. He jumps over the wall just as the through space and time comes through, and he walks straight back into Dodo. Dodo took a second to drop his ult. I don't think he had realized what had happened. He's like, wait, what? And then he manages to get the kill.
No, he knew what was going on. He was like, outplayed. I knew what I was doing. The whole time, calculated.
He calculated nulisa's ult.
Now, the big thing about this as well, though, is I hope that surrender vote was actually by WorldEdit. That's what I'm kind of hoping
was it Elevate who did it?
No, I think it was Sanguine, but I want to hope it was Elevate. Hang on, Dardez under pressure here. Gets popped, and there's a shell. WorldEdit coming in with the Finno, even a little bit late. Space of time will hit Arkkyl one more time. But Nika reinitiating with the ultimate again, but a portal from nulisa slows down
Elevate
Sanguine.
doing a good job right now. They're just kind of waiting through, and there goes the knock as well. WorldEdit has already taken out one, and he's going to take this, I guarantee it, right to the back line. Overhand smash connects. Double kill for WorldEdit. Now chasing down the last 2 members on the right side. Nika trying to juke, but there's just too many people.
WorldEdit gets a triple kill for himself as well, and the monkey laughs at going. He's going to walk straight into a Bacchus, and you don't want to laugh at the fat man, because he'll delete you in a second.
So, a little bit cocky there. WorldEdit not really paying attention, didn't notice the Bacchus, probably still trying to spam that laugh. And now Cherryo and Murrdurr, full health. They're very tanky right now, and they're going to be able to survive this for a little bit.
They've got to be careful about positioning. Murrdurr's going to go to the left, and Cherryo to the right. And here we are, stuck in the middle of Elevate.
This is just like watching Elevate has become so fun, man. They are just so raw. They just
raw talent.
beat you in fights that you don't expect them to. They got a pentakill. nulisa has been phenomenal. If other teams don't start banning this Janus, it's a mistake.
Though, and Jermain under pressure, but a good portal from nulisa will slow down the aggression. Was 2 tanks after all, but with Dodo being back as well, nulisa's in a bit of trouble, and a great hammer from Dardez will buy nulisa plenty of time to disengage.
She's going to be out there. Share those mid-harpies as well. Elevate right now still up about 5,000 gold, but this isn't the biggest lead for them. We're 22 minutes in. It's decent. You've probably got a couple players with some power spike items, but you want to see Elevate start to force more. Gold Fury's about to respawn. Fire Giant is going to become a big factor as well. The later this game goes, the easier it is to take.
Now, a lot of experience showed there by Dardez. He didn't go back to base, even though he should have overall. He needed to make sure the Fire Giant wasn't getting done. Yes, they had ward control there, but a quick ward taken down, you're not sure if they're doing it or not, and that was an opportunity Sanguine could have looked for a Fire Giant. It would have been risky, but it could have happened.
We've seen a lot of Fire Giants in this tournament be kind of contested a lot earlier than we normally see in the online stages. A lot of sub 20-minute ones. You need to be aware. Teams aren't afraid to go for the Fire Giant if they're behind, if they feel like they need it to get back in.
I'll talk about objectives. The Gold Fury is available, and that's exactly where Elevate are right now. Jermain has already started this one up for his team as well. Murrdurr in the mid lane should have a sniff of what's going on, but his team are not in position right now. They're looking at MoGoW.
And look at this. MoGoW's going to be fine here, but what he's doing is just making sure that Sanguine don't go onto the Fire Giant. Didn't want to pop his ultimate there, probably not in the best position, but he's got the help of his team, nulisa ulting over. Now that's 2 ultimates that have been burned, so they need to be a little bit wary about trying to bait Fire Giant. They're not in the best position. They just got Gold Fury, but they haven't spent that golden hand yet, so it doesn't matter.
True. And on top of that, the 2 ultimates being down on the side of Elevate, mainly nulisa's and MoGoW's, more importantly. MoGoW can't frontline as hard as he would like to in that engagement if it was to carry on.
And I think Elevate are going to wait for those ultimates to come back up. We talked about the Shoes of the Focus picked up for nulisa. Max CDR for her and Jermain.
Good
no hesitation. He had to do that.
That was before Purification, just so you know. He got that off very, very quickly, realizing he needed to get out of there. And Jermain as well this game, you keep an eye on that build coming through. He's working towards more crit. He's almost reaching critical mass on this Jing way.
And Arkkyl still really far behind, has only completed his 4th item. We're looking at Jermain working on his 5th, and Hunter builds only get scarier the longer the game goes on. Once you start seeing those Wind Demons, once you start seeing those big crit items like Deathbringer, that's when their DPS on targets jumps immensely.
When you talk about magical damage as well, you can see in mid lane, nulisa went for that Doom Orb again, Chronos Pendant and Shoes of Focus for the cooldown reduction. Almost a throwback to the original Janus days when we saw a lot of cooldown reduction focus.
Yeah, the first person to do this actually regularly was Gnaw on Team Dignitas, and it was kind of laughed at the time because he didn't put out a lot of damage. I think obviously Janus was in a little bit of a different state, but it became staple about 6 months afterwards. Then people started falling off, feeling that Chronos Pendant was enough CDR.
Just got caught out of position there. WorldEdit's committing to it, which means Arkkyl goes to the sky, looking to snipe out Jermain a little bit, but now he's trouble when he lands. Fafnir Weevil pops as well, but WorldEdit takes a lot more damage than he wanted to. He's trying to juke out
tower
in the pit
there,
at the moment, jumping into the tower. Nika follows over and says, "No, my friend, not this time. No giggles for you, monkey man." And now it's Elevate on the defensive.
We've seen Elevate in this spot before. They're the first to lose a member in the fight, but they still come out on top. That coerce could be big. MoGoW trying to juke out right now. No ultimate, doing the best he can. Arkkyl through the wall. Astral Strike is good. 2 kills for Sanguine.
And Jermain's trying to run away. Cherryo double-checked to see if his team was following there. Didn't have taunt available. Jermain will escape. 2 members of Elevate down, and it was their front line as well.
Really good fight coming out from them, and once again, Dardez on point, but that's Purification. Cherryo really wants this kill, and Dardez jumps forward, trying to get out, juking, but the Swing Gust is just too much damage. Only 2 members remain for Elevate as they defend this tower.
This is a repeat again of the last game. I mean, this is an opportunity for Sanguine to win it. Airstrike forced, and now the boys of Sanguine march on. Tier 1 tower down, minion wave with them. Tier 2 tower will fall as well.
The issue there with Elevate is you see Sanguine, when they feel like they've lost the fight, they all start getting out, but Elevate still feel like they can fight back into it, and that's because they had been doing so successfully earlier on, and then back in game 1 where they would lose someone early in the fight but still come out on top. That time, you just saw these players still hang around like, can we win this? I don't know.
I think that was the problem for Elevate though, when you talk about hanging around. Obviously, Arkkyl got forced into the sky with his ultimate, but they waited at the base for him to land, and by doing that, it allowed Sanguine to position themselves correctly to defend and protect that carry, and then the carry ended up coming up big with that shot through the wall.
I mean, even Jermain there, like, he got out with airstrike, but that Spirit Bolt almost killed him. Like, 10, 20, 30 more power at the most maybe, and he would have fallen. They need to be very careful to not get overconfident. Not only did they win a phenomenal comeback from game 1, but game 2, they've had this lead, but Sanguine have been slowly chipping away at it. It's only 3,000. They still need to give a lot of respect to this composition. There's so much CC, and Arkkyl is coming online. Level 18 right now. He's only going to be closing the gap on Jermain from now on.
The big difference is, though, is the experience gain for Jermain over Arkkyl. Arkkyl has still got power to have for himself and still got to finish his build. Meanwhile, Jermain has pretty much hit critical mass. He's got a Titan's Bane more than likely left to finish off this build then. And if Jermain can just get left alone like he did game 1, you know, we could see more fireworks from the lab.
It's possible. Right now, though, Sanguine have built incredibly defensively, similar to Dignitas, where we saw 5 Bulwark of Hopes. You see so much physical protection come out from them outside of Arkkyl. We've got Breastplate of Valors. I mean, look at the build coming out of Cherryo. It's just very tanky.
Onto MoGoW there, who gets hit by a Spirit Bolt. Ults very, very early on, and Sanguine, happy with that result, will just fall back.
Just trying to bait ults, and this might be something very similar to the Orbit versus Dignitas set, where Neither team, actually, never mind, it's Elevate. They're going to force
Cherryo
something.
is going to be taunting for days, and he's actually going to force the taunt. WorldEdit, another purification down. Sanguine, reset. This is the power of an Athena. Overall, get those purifications off, wait for the cooldown, and go again.
It's just popping that taunt as much as possible, and he's got 2 people lined up, but I think it's still on cooldown for another second. It's got to be up right now, but no one in position anymore. Still, Cherryo pushing forward. Has speed buff as well. There's the taunt onto Dardez, and a full commit from Sanguine.
If he can get his ultimate, it's a win. It gets wasted time, though, and it's
not on a good
Elevate
target.
Trying to go back in here, and it's Murrdurr who's being focused. Murrdur's dead
Shredded.
already, and now Dardez is standing tall. Now he was going to isolate Nika as well. Can he get back to his team?
The rest of the team is trying to escape. Great Spirit Ball, but Jermain going to pop his Purification. Really wanted that kill. 2 kills for Jermain. There are another 3 lined up, but they're far gone. And now it's going to be a Fire Giant attempt coming out for Elevate.
Wow.
It's WorldEdit on defense.
Can Sanguine defend this one? They have Arkkyl with the snipes and Dodo with the circle of protection and the taunts from Cherryo, but I don't think they're going to get there in time. MoGoW stood tall on defensive duty. The zone was good. Elevate, get the Fire Giant.
That also, you saw the snipes come in, but he was actually just short. And one of the reasons for that is Arkkyl, big crits through the sky. Sanctuary's good, but right down underneath them is going to be MoGoW.
Well, Dodo's going to get a good circle of protection, but Jermain will fall for overextending a bit too far there. That will actually slow down Elevate a little bit.
That was the worst possible target for Elevate, or the worst possible person for Elevate to lose. That's your Hunter. That's the person in the late game scenarios you need to shred through these towers. At the very least, though, WorldEdit was able to get a tier 2 in mid, but Elevate are going to have to reset and wait for Jermain to spawn.
You mentioned Elevate need a calming influence on that team, and it showed right there that they still need that. With Jermain going that deep for the kills there, they could have just won the game off the back of that with the members they'd already killed, at least a Phoenix instead.
I mean,
slowed it down.
I mean, one of the things, too, was, I think it was Nika, right? Where, like, he didn't have to pop its Purification. The rest of his team was around that area. Like, they would have killed it. That was greed for kills, I think, or just, like, the reaction time of, I want to get this. If he has that Purification up, maybe he doesn't die when he dives on the right-hand side.
Very, very true indeed. But the Fire Giant's still on 4 members, though, and Jermain is about to respawn, obviously, with the passive of Jing Wei. It's not going to take too long to get back in the action. The Gold Fury available here at 30 minutes in, and gold's still important for both these 2 teams.
About a 6K gold lead, no one full build just yet. Warriors are getting very close. Jermain actually, has finished off his build. It is the Titan's Bane last item, and then that's really great for Arkkyl. Like I said, he's only closing the gap now. Jermain's not getting any stronger until he gets a 3,000 power potion.
Well, the tier 2 on the left being looked at, and I don't think Sanguine will be here to defend whatsoever. They will give this one up and probably just look to defend the Phoenixes for the time being.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. Still the tier 2 on right. And just look at this restraint from Elevate. Like, they've played this game more objective-focused than I have ever seen them.
Yeah.
They're going to go straight for the Gold Fury as well. Can we take a look at gold in hand real quick? It's already an 8K gold lead. They don't have a lot, so not going to be able to get too much off of that, but it's just nice. You're just getting that extra lead for when the big fight does happen.
I actually think that kill, that death that Jermain just had in that last little game engagement after the Fire Giant was the wisest thing for Elevate here. That's actually just put them in check, right? It just put the team in check. I'm like, hang on a second. We could still make a mistake here.
You know, I think this team came into this tournament with no expectations. I was talking to them. We talked about how they didn't I mean, you could not prepare and still be like, we're going to coast or whatever, but I almost want to assume they just wanted the trip. They're 5 rookies. It was just an enjoyable thing for them, but then they had game 2 against Orbit, and it was incredibly competitive.
You can dream, but dreams don't always become realities.
But then they had the games against Dignitas, and starting to look better.
That made their dreams not become dreams anymore.
And then they had a pentakill on Jermain, nulisa playing with way more confidence than we've ever seen her play, and I think that's it. I think now Elevate see that they're a team that could make Worlds.
Now Sanguine.
Not easy, but
last time
the chance.
Sanguine hold again and put the pressure back on Elevate. Respawn timers will be going up as most people hitting level 20 now as well. Murrdurr on the front line.
50 seconds left on Fire Giant for Elevate here. It's going to be really important that they have calm and collected comms in this situation.
We'll talk about their comms. Let's listen to their comms in this engagement on the Steel Series. Listening.
Oh shit, that's a good one there. No, Bacchus.
Gonna flop out.
Listen,
Shell
on Bacchus.
We just pushed the Phoenix this move.
Yeah, we can get Phoenix down. Isis is trying. Athena charging down.
Athena, gonna dash.
Shell's dropping.
Nice. Rama is solo.
Walla.
Rama is on
I'm tanking the tower.
Rama in there.
I'm zoning,
Get Phoenix.
I don't tank the tower anymore, so can I this? Look at Bellona is
Oh my
solo.
god.
Bellona is solo.
Isis is so low.
Can you stun?
Athena? No?
Get mid Phoenix. Mid Phoenix.
Wait. Goose, just tank.
I fucked
We
up.
are low, Jermain is low.
You got disarm.
I don't think you guys can fight.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
what?
can't get the Phoenix. I'm backing off, I'm backing
Defend.
off, I'm backing off.
If you're done.
I can lifesteal again.
Oh, nice.
A messy fight from Elevate there, but it came out good.
Here's the thing. We listened to them the other day at that Fire Giant.
Very quiet.
Dardez should be fine here. It was just like, oh my god, oh, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. This time, like, it was still pretty chaotic. There didn't seem to be one concise caller, but there was a lot of really well-called abilities. They're calling, we can't fight here. Here's their beads down, dash down, taunt down. We saw them be more of a unit than we heard last time from them.
Completely true indeed. 13-11 now. One Phoenix, sorry, is it 2? Yeah, it is 2. I wasn't sure if that last one did fall in the middle. 2 Phoenixes fell down off that Fire Giant, and the Fire Giant about to spawn again in the next 6 to 5 seconds overall.
6 to 5
here.
seconds, something
6 to
around
5.
there.
I was about to say 5 to 6, but I'm like, I can't say it that way around because by that time it'd be 5 and not 6.
Sure, and then it could have been 4, and then now
It'd
it's
be 4.
now it's spawned.
And now it's spawned, and now I'm just wrong again.
Anyways, Elevate right now looking fantastic, but it's gonna be Sanguine starting up this Fire Giant.
I'm done with you. Fire Giant has been started. MoGoW is here to defend, though.
I like
He's sat
this.
in the cloud. He's just buying time. They can't engage onto him, and now that's down. Dardez is back, and so is Jermain,
Oh, now he's
who
by
gets
himself.
taunted and spirit balled and sniped and deleted by Nika. It's a mad advantage now for Sanguine.
That's not the Elevate we had seen, and Dardez is still staying around. WorldEdit, I think, really wanted that
Space
speed
and
bump
time.
through space and time. Doesn't connect onto prime targets. Dardez trying to get over that wall. He does manage to take the portal, and a good ult from Jiffy as well, just making sure to disengage Sanguine. I think they have to give up this FG. If they contest this, it could just be game.
Well, they've not really got much to contest it with. WorldEdit goes back in and does manage to get out again, just about avoiding the taunt as Murrdurr keeping
By
them
himself?
busy. While this is going on, though, there is fire minions pouring into base, and that's why Nika is back there to defend now.
You can see a full wave on the right-hand side. Nika just dealing with one. And this is what's going to really help Sanguine, despite getting picked off there, because they were able to break the base of Sanguine before. It's put so much pressure with those fire minions pouring, and they do way too much damage to be left alone, which means even if you feel like you have a man advantage, you really don't. Because if you don't have someone to defend that, your Titan's just going to die on its own.
I think it's Jermain more than anyone we've got to watch this game, because he is feeling himself, and that's
like
twice
3.
now.
I think that's 3 times.
Well, guaranteed twice. I mean, the one on the right-hand side of the tier 2 after the Fire Giant, and then that one there. That one, to be fair to him, though, I guess he didn't expect it to be engaged, but he didn't use a single relic.
Did he have both up at the time?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it
doesn't
could
look
have
like
been,
it now.
it could have been iffy. Maybe he tried to airstrike out and just couldn't get it off in time, because he had done that multiple times where he tries to burn the airstrike instead of his relics if it's possible, because he can get back into the fight if he takes any poke with his passive.
Well, he's back in the fight right now and already starting up the Fire Giant here. Sanguine know what's going on because Murrdur's here. Murrdurr, an established support player as well. He's stolen his fair share of Fire Giants in his time as Nika's a little bit caught out of position, but tanking up to weather the storm.
This is a big commit.
Committing.
Yeah, that's a tanky target, and MoGoW taking a lot of damage. They do force Nika's ultimate, but here comes through space and time, and Murrdurr, he's got to jump away. Meditation going to keep Sanguine healthy for now, but it's still WorldEdit in the middle of 5. He's got no fear.
Well, only Murrdur's really low here. Jermain took a little bit of punishment, but he's trying to wrap around the back. Is Jermain right now.
There
The
he is.
Hunter looking
Watch
in
him.
deep. Meanwhile,
Watch out
Dardez
for him.
going to try and zone him away as the Titan taking a bit of poke from these fire minions. And the snipes are up, and WorldEdit's in trouble.
He's trying to hug that wall. Last snipe, but it
Gets
does
it.
connect. nulisa actually body blocked WorldEdit. So unfortunate there, and Jermain in an awkward spot. Cherryo wants a taunt, but really just trying to deal with the fire minion waves. Right-hand Phoenix
They're
and
both coming
middle
up.
about to respawn, but Elevate's got a back. Sanguine hold through their trying times.
Now the Titan will regen. Those Phoenixes will only go to half health, though they will still be weakened
Yes.
and easier to take next time round for Elevate. But the way Sanguine are holding this later stage of the game, Adonis, you've got to start worrying for Elevate here.
I mean, it comes down to it, right? They had to get a pentakill. They really did have to get a pentakill. We're seeing much better objective control from them in Game 2 than we've seen all tournament from them, but it's still not enough. When you go against teams that have prepared a lot, that are very good when it comes to working as a unit, making sure their position's in check, making sure they time their relics and team fight options optimally, you can't make a single mistake, and that's what we've started to see from Elevate.
Space and time, they were looking for Dodo. In minute is Dodo again, who's under pressure.
himself.
Cherryo forced to ult defensively. MoGoW's going to give chase, though, and the bird is going to go back in the cage, at least the fountain for the time being. And now the boys of Elevate with nulisa will march on.
They need to start sieging up these Phoenixes. They're both half-life, doing half damage as well. Instead, heading to the Fire Giant. They have, I think, one remaining Fire Wave, I think that was, but no, they're just going to be sieging this up here. here. Now the question is, does Sanguine want to defend? Last time it was a little bit harder because they had the fire waves to deal with. Now not so much.
Look at the crit. 783, 783 over and over and over again from
They gave it up.
Jermain. They can't contest it in time. They give it up, and it's back to defensive duties for Sanguine. This time round, though, it's 30 seconds without their mid laner.
Most of their team is full build right now. They don't need to take anything risky. We see Cherryo picking up the Rod of Asclepius.
Those power bots, though.
They have double meditation, which is going to help them out a lot when it comes to the sieging against the Fire Giant regen.
Well, they're going to backdoor this Phoenix on the right-hand side and then head towards the mid lane as well. Nulisa, we're following along with her for the most part. She stays very, very well positioned at the back. Doesn't want to be too far forward.
She hasn't had the same ult prowess that she did last game. This game, her ults have been connecting onto targets, but it's mostly been Cherryo, who's incredibly tanky. She needs to find those huge shots onto Dodo and Arkkyl like she did from game 1, because that's been the big struggle. Elevate haven't had that big AoE teamfight damage that they came to know from Nulisa in game 1.
Dodo is back up. The Phoenix in mid lane still stands. The crit damage from Jermain is starting to hurt space and time.
There it is!
Will hit again! Arkkyl is forced back to base. So is Dodo. The boys and girls of Elevate take the Phoenix in mid, and they look for the left. Very wise.
That was real lucky from Sanguine. Elevate weren't in a position to full commit and chase those players out. Airstrike from Jermain and WorldEdit with the Fear No Evil, but no one has fallen yet from Sanguine. They're holding their Phoenix now. It's going to be trouble. Shell is popped and Elevate debating on what they want to do,
That was a big shell, and they're looking to collapse in. They're not sure who to focus onto, and Murrdurr's going to make sure that he gets some damage off before he goes down. Circle of protection down, as is the taunt as well. The heal will heal him up, but WorldEdit takes out Murrdurr as this goes on. WorldEdit very low for diving in. Nika will pick him up, and Dodo goes down in trade to Dardez. The Titan is under threat now. Fire minions will be pouring from everywhere, but the boys of Elevate are slowly dying. The crit damage from Jermain will pick up Arkkyl.
Hey, this could be it. Right now, only one player left to defend at full health. Nika can't even make it back to his fountain. Wow. Almost a shot dead, and here it goes forward. It's Dardez with the kill, 18-14, one member remaining to defend, and there it is, 5 players, a Dia side for Jermain and the boys of Elevate. They're gonna find a 2-0, and hope is still alive for them in this tournament.
Coming with dreams, but don't let your dreams be dreams, and that's what Elevate did today. After day 1, they had crushing defeats, to be fair, against Dignitas and Orbit, but against Sanguine, they have come out strong on day 2.
Jermain there. Pentakill to him. Just fantastic showing. Nulisa as well definitely gave it her all in this set, and that was a deserved win from Elevate.
Great work from them. You can see they're using Steel Series, which is the official sponsor here today, and that's a lovely setup. I'm going to steal that. I've been saying that all along.
I did steal. I got yelled at by
by
Jared because I stole one yesterday.
I want the headset. The headset's awesome.
I want the monitor. That's a huge monitor, man.
Monitor? I've got a monitor right here.
Actually, the keyboard's pretty sick.
On camera. Calm down.
I can't.
Great game.
That was such a good game. I really can't.
We got Pentakill. We got the underdogs, obviously, after... Well, to be fair, Sanguine came in as underdogs this tournament, but after beating Dig, then it was Elevate that were underdogs.
I think everyone's an underdog outside of Orbit at this point. Like, in this, like, it is so hard to call.
Unusual for Orbit to get that.
I'm going to say it again. I think Orbit finding that 2-0 in day 1 was the best thing they could have done, because with how close these games are, all these teams are learning as they go. Elevate's only going to be stronger moving forward. Yep. Sanguine are only going to be stronger moving forward. And Dignitas, they had that split. They're going to be facing off again tomorrow. Orbit do not have an easy path like I think they had originally thought they would.
We still have 6 more sets across the 2 days left to go. But for now, let's go back about this game. I mean, Elevate obviously did very, very well in both these games with their Pentakill as well. Let's find out what Tom has to say with Taco and Toli after that amazing set between the two.
Thanks a lot, Hinderman and Adonis. You know, I asked you guys a question. I said, hey, is that moment, that pentakill out of Jermain, is that enough to bring a couple players out their shell? I know the answer. I want you guys to answer for me.
Oh, well, I definitely think that the momentum that Elevate had from that first game most certainly carried into that second set. I mean, into the second game. And I think it's really important to note as well that nulisa was coming up so big on this Janus. I'm honestly surprised that Sanguine let her get it 2 games in a row. Comfort pick for her, and definitely something that she knew what she was working with.
We saw them grouping up a lot. We saw Jermain with the first ball on the left-hand side, just diving past the tier 1 tower. They were so comfortable after the first game to make all the necessary plays, getting free uncontested gold furies against the composition from Sanguine that was relatively similar. They had the same core between the Athena jungle, Isis ultimate and Bacchus support.
Comfort really across the board. That's the go home, take home term for sure. Everybody on the side of Elevate not only had their comfort picks, but also I'm going to talk about the intangibles, the stuff that doesn't hit the scoreboard. Everybody looked more comfortable. You mentioned momentum. Momentum's very real in a game like Smite. You can't quantify it. It's not going to show up in your end game stats, but it's certainly something to hold on to. We saw Jermain solo Arkkyl twice in lane. That's that intangible momentum.
And that was without Rama too. Like they took Rama away from him. He didn't care.
Yeah, the mind games were definitely being played by Jermain there onto Arkkyl. I'm still not certain who started that surrender vote, but I have a very strong feeling, knowing as like an ADC player myself, it's very tilting, especially when you get solo 2 times in a row pretty quick like that. You never want to be that person that gets solo, especially not at LAN.
Absolutely. Elevate. It wasn't all just candy and daisies, though. We did see them make a little bit of a mistake near Fire Giant. And I liked what Hinduman said. He said, you know what? Maybe they needed to sort of make that mistake to sort of bring the momentum down just a tad. But certainly a lot of victorious situations Elevate found themselves in, both individually and as a team. Hinduman's going to break it down with the individual, the man himself. It's Jermain.
It is indeed Jermain. Joining me, the Hunter player for Elevate. Congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
How did it go? How was day 1 versus day 2 for you? Obviously, you still got 1 more to play today, but fantastic start.
I feel like the first day, I feel like we should have at least got 1 point. I mean, like the games against Orbit were really, really close, and I feel like we should have at least gotten 1 point. It wasn't deserved for us to be at 0 points at the
So,
end of the
what was the game plan coming into today for me? I mean, you guys went back to the hotel last night. It looks like you look like a different team today compared to yesterday.
I mean, we watched the Sanguine games against Orbit yesterday, and we saw like what Orbit did to win against them, and we tried to like do exactly the same, and it worked out.
It looked like a very good performance. You got a pentakill as well. I mean, first one.
First one in SPL, yeah.
And LAN as well.
At LAN as well.
So you're the first one this year to get one in the LAN, which is a good little situation to be in. Game 2, they took Rama away from you, and then you go to Jing Wei.
I mean...
And then you solo Arkkyl twice.
Just give me anything that I can press left click on and I will carry your games.
You sure? It's a big statement to make, that one. Overall.
I don't know. I'm comfortable on every hunter, I think.
Well, when we spoke to you yesterday as well, I was speaking to a few of you guys off air, and you were saying you don't really have a shot caller, so to speak. That seemed a little bit different today.
We don't really have a shot caller. It's like everyone just says what they think, and we all like... And at some point someone like steps up and tells us like the call we should follow, and like that's where we excel at.
Well, do you have any shout-outs to the fans at home who maybe newly found it after that performance from you today?
I mean, shoutouts to Elevate, of course. They're an awesome sponsor and an awesome org. And shoutouts to all the fans. And yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations and good luck in the rest of your games this weekend. The group is wide open. We'll be back after the break with a great matchup. It's a rematch. It's Dignitas versus Sanguine. Sanguine off the back of 2 losses. Can they find a win against Dig again?